Okay, we are going to work on this brake adjustment. So this big ring here has threads on it. It threads back and forth in this triangular shape. It has a keeper or lock, and this lock then sandwiches or spreads. Actually, it's quite clever. This opens up this ring. This is a bit of, okay, come on now. Way you go. This tightens against the threads, kind of spreads open, holds this tight to this. This is what puts your braking pressure onto your electric motor. So today we're going to buff this. I had it soaking now for a while. We got to get this guy to let go. I tried earlier and it doesn't have any type of positive keeper. It has just a little slot on top and of course a lock washer, but it's been rusted for so long I'm sure it's not going to let go easy. So I'm just going to hit it with hit it quick. Okay, we'll try this. We'll try to put some pressure. Try to put some pressure on that. The back of that special bolt. I think we'll heat it up again. Maybe give it some taps with the magic hammer. That doesn't seem to do much. Oh, there we go. We got it. Okay. Now. A bit of that. Look at that. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's the rule. Now I'm not going to take it out quite yet. I want to use this as a, see if I can get this to spin. See if we're making headway. You see that? There. It has these big drive points. Should probably get a chunk of shaft or a bolt that goes in there. Well, there it goes. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll get a, before we wreck this, I think I'll get a, look at that. Isn't that cool? Fine thread, its own special little drive, little taper. Look at that taper in there. The guy could also maybe clamp it inward with something, big set of clamps, and that might loosen it off. Maybe it's kind of spring loaded open. Okay, we'll reconvene. For some reason, I don't know if there was, why, it looks like it's broken. Maybe there was actual studs that stuck up, and these are just the spot welds. I don't know if you can see that. If these were just the spot welds of studs that used to stick up, and it kind of looks like that. It kind of looks like that's how you used to turn these. I'll have to go look at the other ones and see if they have studs sticking out. There's some numbers on here. I'm going to get this all shined up, cleaned up, but that turned out nice. I think it's still in good shape. Yeah, we'll have to see. Maybe I'll have to weld in new studs and make an adjusting wrench. I'll have to do some reading in the manuals and see what I can find. Okay, we're out on the machine, and this is the apron assembly, or apron winch assembly, and you can see this is where the apron would come up and down in the scraper. So here's the brake assembly. This is all still intact, and you can see that this does in fact have the these studs here to rotate, to tighten or loosen the pressure on the brake. So I will go ahead and weld in new studs on that existing unit for the ejector. So yeah, confirmation that this does have drive pins or lugs or whatever you want to call them. Okay, so I've buffed these plates. I'm not sure if they were painted at all from factory. It doesn't really look like it, but I thought I would at least give the perimeter a coat of primer. This, what I've just taped off, is the brake surface for the discs. So I'm not going to paint this surface on this guy. He's the center one. This one's the top one. This is the bottom one. This one is the bottom brake piece, and then this guy, he goes against there. So I'm gonna give these all a coating of primer. But when I was buffing these, I did find some interesting numbers, part numbers that were stamped in here. This brake adjustment housing and an adjustment threaded unit, this had an SF327. This had a DH6757. Of course, we went over this special little tapered fine thread bolt that, of course, presses this open to secure this. I did go look at another one of the electric motors on the scraper, and these are indeed supposed to be studs that protrude that you would then use to adjust this. And you can see here, this is in fact the plug weld that they did. So I'm going to die grinder that out, get some new shafts, and weld these back in there. Excuse me. But this turned out good. I'm curious. They welded it across this way. They didn't do it fully, and of course it's very snug to be in here, so that's probably a good thing. So I think I'll mimic how they welded it. If a guy welded it on this side, you could potentially collapse or warp it in so that it would end up being looser. And if you welded it on this side, it would do the opposite and open this by having the weld on that quadrant. A part of me kind of wants to weld it on the inside so that it's a nice easy spin, but maybe I'll just follow what they did. They made more than I did. When I cleaned these guys up, I wasn't too aggressive. I mean, there's not a lot of material here. There was some interesting stamps. So it looks like potentially a T and a D. So I don't know what a T and a D means. And then on this one had a D, an O, and a 4. So interesting. I'll have to see if there's a difference in the parts call out in the parts book. This guy, he had a teeny little witness mark that looks like a square, would have been a square, and had a 45 in there, and then this also had a 323. Part of that's going to get painted, so I thought I would take that before it gets painted. And then this one didn't have anything. So this guy was the dual acting, is sandwiched in between the two discs, and then this is just the top that actually runs against this. So anyways, we'll primer all of this. I'll leave these alone. I'm not going to worry about primering these little teeth here, because I don't think anything of it was painted. I mean, it was supposed to be covered underneath the motor's electrical shroud or covering, and I don't want paint interfering with the braking surfaces, but I think it'll look nice if we just give it a little bit of a primer on, at least here. It's coming along. Okay, we got some little pins. Now, perfect. So it looks like they welded it on this side and on this side. It looks okay. 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 So it has to be flush, or this has to be flush or recessed, because this is the surface that goes against the stack of brake discs. So we'll just make sure that yeah, that turns out good. There. Now we'll give this a shot of paint. I won't paint the threads, but I will paint this, because this actually will be facing out to do the adjustment. Okay, we have the first stage of the brake components cleaned and buffed and primered, and we repaired this guy and welded in new studs. We taped this all. I think I might actually paint this all yellow, and then this guy will be in another episode where we went through him as well. But for right now, this pretty well wraps up the first part of the braking system. We'll get to the electromagnets in the next series or the next part of the brake series. I think we'll do the armature episode next, and yeah, it's looking pretty good. So thanks again for joining me, and we'll keep on keeping on.